How's it going, my truant people? Dr. Slacking, the Slacking Doctor, back with week 4 of the PGBL as your Bowling Bovines go up against Randy, HLD Productions, and his Houston Team Rockets. Now, if you guys don't know me personally, you may not know this, but for a long time when I was starting to get into Draft League, when I was really starting to try and improve and learn from a lot of people and content creators and whatever else, Randy was one of 3 content creators that I really watched religiously, that I watched every game no matter what. Him in Vivid Color and Wolf Glick were the 3 that I just watched every week without fail, whatever leagues they were in, whatever they were doing. So for me, this is a huge game. This is, yeah, very, very exciting for me. When I joined the PGBL, Randy was one of the people I was most looking forward to getting to play against. And I took this seriously. So I want to thank the front office for the mocks that they gave me. Eric, Elliot, Sean, Aquarius, I think all of them gave me mocks. There was a lot of mocks, a lot of talk in the front office about this one, because I wanted a W here very, very badly. So if you guys didn't check out the team builder that went up yesterday, I will quickly run over the teams and what I think of the matchup here. I will say that I feel like this matchup is favorable for us. So in team building, I did win every mock that I had, I believe. So I really wanted to carry that momentum into this game and try and do as well as possible. Oh, shout out to Dean as well, who also helped with the mocks for this one. So yeah, really went all out to try and make sure we could pull out a W here. So moving on to the team. First up, we have Cairo the Lucario. This is just a bulk up substitute Drain Punch set. The idea being we can abuse that Aloma Mola and potentially bulk up on it. We have a Rocks Spadef Diancie that can come in on Salazzle and get rocks up pretty easily. We have a Rocky Helmet Static Zapdos with Whirlwind to make sure nothing can set up on us, but can also slow down a Scarf Jirachi potentially. We have a Assault Vest Scissor that can take a +2 HP Fire after a Leaf Storm from a Superior, I believe, and kill that thing with U-Turn. Also has Quick Attack as a nice tech for things like the Salazzle here. Break it, sub, or just pick it off at low range of health. Then we have a Sub Focus Punch Spore Breloom making its debut on the channel. First time we're using Breloom here since we traded it in. Sub Spore is really hard for him to deal with, and of course Focus Punch is incredibly powerful. We do have the Mac Punch on here, even though we're Poison here with the Toxic Orb, just because it's nice for chip on things like Huron Black and stuff. It's just really nice to have that priority. And then last up we have Gato, the Mega Alakazam, which outspeeds the whole of his team barring Scarfers, and he doesn't really have any good Scarfers against me, so can just go crazy with Psychic plus Focus Blast and Shadow Ball, hitting all of his team. Now the final move on this one is Taunt. I thought it was Encore. That will be relevant as we play through this game, so bear that in mind as I go through the commentary here. Regardless, looking at his team, I think that if he's got any Scarfers, it's likely to be these first 2. Scarf Superior doesn't make a ton of sense with these 3 you see in the middle on our team, Zapdos, Scissor, and Breloom. It really needs its coverage. So Scarf Jirachi is okay, but then there's the Zapdos with Rocky Helmet and Static, which kind of slows that thing down. It could be Scarf Special, but Scarf Special isn't nearly as good for revenge killing things like Mega Alakazam. So yeah, I feel like that's not great. So if he has any Scarfer, I think it would be the Kieran Black. And if that thing's Scarf, then hey, at least it's not Z. But I do want to pressure it and scout for that as early as possible. Other than that, like I say, I do think Kieran Black could be Z. It's scared by so much priority on my team in Mac Punch, Bullet Punch, and then outsped by the Mega Alakazam and potentially even by the Zapdos, that really I feel like it just wants to get one big hit off, claim 1 KO, and then probably be expendable. I don't know if it can do much more than that in this matchup, because there's only 2 things that it can really get onto the field against safely. Other than that, it struggles pretty badly. But switching into it is never easy, so I need to make sure that I don't let it in for free, and that when I do let it in for free and it gets its 1 KO, I revenge kill it well and put more of offensive pressure against his team. That's the kind of thinking here. Jirachi, I saw a bunch of Calm Mind in mocks. I didn't really expect Calm Mind when I looked at the matchup, but I saw a ton in mocks, so it's something that's in the back of my head in this game. Any Calm Mind, any Jirachi set could be annoying. Wish, Protect, whatever. It could be potentially annoying. I've just got to try and see what it is. Hopefully Spore it with Breloom and then just Focus Punch through his team. That was the easiest way in mocks. I can knock it off, of course, with Scissor as well. This Aloma Mola, it's an Aloma Mola. It's going to be a Fat Wish Passer. Hopefully it's not Rocky Helmet, and if it isn't, Lucario will just go crazy in this game because it was set up all over this Aloma Mola. Dre Punch it all back and be behind a sub to take on everything else. Then he has the Hitmonchan. I didn't see this in mocks at all. I don't think it's very good, so I'm very intrigued to see what Hitmonchan does here. It's not a mon that I know too much about. I know it can run like Bullet Punch for priority. I know it can run Elemental Punches, which is nice coverage against my team, I guess. Maybe like Aerial Ace, Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Bullet Punch. I don't know really, but I'm intrigued to see what it does. Iron Fist boosted elemental punches, I guess, are decent coverage against my team, but its speed tier isn't great, and its defense is pretty lackluster. It's not even that strong either. Then he has the Salazzle here. This almost certainly has to be subtoxic. I have a Diancie which walls it indefinitely, but outside of toxic, and I had a Jellicent on my draft, which also just stops this thing's offensive stabs from ever doing anything. So yeah, I really feel like it has to be subtoxic. And then last up, he has a Superior, which could be Subseed, could be Scarf, but I don't think so. Otherwise, I think it's likely to just be like Glare, Leaf Storm, Hidden Power Fire, and then maybe Defog, something like that. But just a way, maybe subtoxic Leech Seed to wear down the Zapdos too. There's a number of things he could run here, but I don't think it should be Scarf, but I do have to keep it in mind just in case. So they are my thoughts going into the game. In terms of lead matchup, I don't want to lead with anything that gives Kyurem a kill straight away, because like I say, I pressure it offensively with a ton of things, but I don't switch into it very well. So I'm going to lead off with Lucario. It basically just puts on the most offensive pressure against his team. If he does lead with the Kyurem, maybe we can bait it and just go straight for the Drain Punch. I know, having used Kyurem myself, that lead Kyurem is quite nice to just put on offensive pressure. A lot of people like to lead off with Kyurem when they have it, and that's exactly what he goes for. So if we can bait him into the Earth Power here, Drain Punch into Bullet Punch will KO him. Otherwise, we can potentially force him out and get in the Aloe, which hopefully will reveal to be leftovers, and then we can bulk up and just claim 2 KOs right off the bat against his team. So here he goes out into the Aloe, not wanting to risk potential, I guess, Banded, Bullet Punch, anything like that. As we just fire off the Drain Punch, we do an okay amount, you know, maybe 20%, 25, as he reveals to be Rocky Helmet, and that is absolute worst case scenario, because not only is he Rocky Helmet, but I've already taken Chip before I've gone for my sub. Here I do go for the sub, hoping that he's Scald, not Liquidation, as he reveals to be Scald. So I know that I'm always going to get 2 subs against him. Always going to get a sub up for free against him now, because I can bulk up here, and even if he's Liquidation, he won't be able to break my next substitute after this if he brought some kind of mixed Alomomola. So we know that we're going to bulk up, and at the very least we should be able to 1v1 this Aloe, as he does reveal the Liquidation. So bulk up over Drain Punch coming in a little bit useful there, but we are in a position where we can sub again, and there is nothing he can do to stop me. This is the point where I really wish we had leftovers instead of Sugarberry. It was something that Eric recommended, but I just felt like if the Aloe didn't come, I wanted the Sugarberry as a lure for things like the Kyurem and the Snorlax. And here I just go for the Drain Punch rather than bulking up again, so that I can comfortably make another sub after this. Maybe this was the wrong play. I don't think it really matters too much. We get a little bit back, and we take a little bit of Rocky Helmet Chip. We're kind of in a position where I just have to make sure I at least remove the Alomomola and pressure him with something that doesn't want to take a Bullet Punch, particularly as he crits the Scald there, but I believe that was his second one anyway, so it didn't really matter. Here I just go for another substitute. This is going to be my final substitute, and I think I go for a bulk up after this. Like I say, that way I'm just guaranteed to kill this Alomomola. I'm not, unfortunately, going to end up behind a substitute, but I am guaranteed to at least remove this thing. If he hadn't been Rocky Helmet, we would have just gone crazy here. You've already seen that, you know, he's really struggling to break through my substitute. We would have been getting more and more recovery off him than we have been doing. I would have been able to sub again after this, and we would have been in such a great position. But unfortunately, he did bring the Rocky Helmet set, so we aren't doing too much, and we're just going to have to Drain Punch here to hopefully pick off the Alomomola. It looks like it should kill. I'm sorry, I'm getting my calcs wrong. I thought we killed that turn, but oh no, we take the damage here. That's the thing. We take the next hit and we live it, and then we can KO him. So as he goes for the Scald here, hoping to snag a burn, knowing that I can't go for a substitute, and we actually live that with enough health to take a Rocky Helmet recoil and kill the Alomomola here. Sorry, I got my turns a little bit out of order, but I knew that we ended up basically picking off the Alomomola, and we're left with exactly 1 health. So we did get somewhat lucky with the damage rolls, perhaps on that Scald, meaning that we could keep this thing at 1 health, but it's fine. He goes out into Jirachi, and here I am tempted to just click the Drain Punch. I don't know what kind of set he is. He's more than likely special if he in this matchup, and he's shiny as well, which I think means that he's running some kind of like event move, which usually is things like, I think it's like Draco Meteor, maybe Moonblast, stuff like that I think are the event moves. But the reason that I want to go into Zapdos here is because it just exerts the most pressure against this thing. I don't like to revenge kill this thing very well without any chip on it at all, because Mega Alakazam wants to revenge kill it and wants to click Shadow Ball, but I don't want this thing to get free damage off on my Mega Alakazam or even a T-Wave, because I did see T-Wave, Jirachi, and Mox. So instead I just basically go into Zapdos. Even if he's Calm Mind, which he does reveal to be here, I can still Whirlwind him out and hopefully get chip on him later in the game. So Yeah, a little bit odd, I suppose, but I don't know if he's got like hidden power fire, I don't know if he's got T-Wave, I don't know if he can slow down my Mega Exam or hit my Scissor and things like that. So I just felt like this was my best way. A little bit defensive, a little bit passive. I gave him like 60% on my Zapdos for no reason, but I got to find out exactly what his Jirachi was, and as that's the only thing on his team that he really perceives as a threat, it's good information. Here I'm basically going to go into my Lucario on his Hitmonchan, because I felt like he might try and switch his Hitmonchan out, because my Zapdos versus his Hitmonchan seems like a pretty favorable matchup for me to just like the Thunderbolt or whatever. He doesn't know anything about my set yet other than I have Roost, and it also seems like I could Roost up on him really well, but I'm guessing he had speed crept a very slow Zapdos and decided from how much damage he did with his Psychic that I probably didn't have any speed, and so thought he could just pick me off with Ice Punch. It was fine. Sacking Lucario was something I didn't mind. It was kind of a mid-ground play where if he went out into anything on the Lucario, I thought there was a chance he could be Kieran Black, so I just wanted to make sure that I had Lucario in on Kieran Black again. Like I said earlier in the game, I didn't want to give Kieran Black free switchings to get kills, and if I ended up just sacking to the Ice Punch like I didn't mind that either, because it got my Alakazam on the field, and as I said in the team voter, as I said at the beginning of this game, Alakazam goes crazy. He reveals to be a Life Orb Hitmonchan. Now if he's got Bullet Punch, it will do a lot, but I do have a ton of HP in this Alakazam, so we will take it, and I don't necessarily need any HP on my Mega Alakazam. I don't necessarily have to take any hits later in the game, as we trace his Iron Fist here, which of course is going to be clutch. No, completely useless to us, but it doesn't matter. We just go for the Psychic as he doesn't go for the priority, and we are able to pick off this Hitmonchan, meaning another kill for Mega Alakazam. Super nice, and we don't take any damage. I don't know if he had the priority on it or not. Maybe he decided not to go for it, fearing that, I don't know, I might pull some shenanigans, I don't know. But we either way get our KO there, showing that nothing can switch into Mega Alakazam. Had he gone into Jirachi hard on the Psychic there, he would have given me Serene Grace instead of Iron Fist, which makes it incredibly difficult for him to take a Shadow Ball afterwards if we get the Spadef drop with the Psychic. So here I go out into Scissor on the Superior as he comes into Revenge Kill Mega Alakazam. He could be Scarfed, he could be Scarf Glare, and that is probably the scariest thing, because if he's Scarf Glare, it's just really annoying to get Mega Alakazam glared. Even if he's slow Glare and he just wants to soak up a Psychic and glare me, I just don't want to be glared. I absolutely do not want to be glared. I could Taunt, but then if he is Scarf, he gets a Leaf Storm boost, and that's a whole thing, and I don't want to lose to Scarf Superior after thinking that has no matchup against me. So in general, it just felt like red was the safest play here on the Leaf Storm, as he does nothing and he reveals to be Overgrow. At this point in the game, I can't assume that's a misgen. I have to play it as though, you know, there might be a reason that he's Overgrow. I don't know what that reason would ever be, like if he had Sword Stance or something, some kind of mixed set, but I just, you know, I can't be stupid and just assume that it's a misgen and play off of that. I'm just going to go for the knockoff, because I don't think he ever stays in, right? Even if he is some kind of weird physical SERP. I don't think he is, by the way. I'm pretty confident it's a misgen. But at this point in the game, I don't know. If he catches me out with Sword Stance later in the game, I'm going to look a fool getting swept by Sword Stance Superior. So it's always just logged there in the back of my brain that I can't take anything for granted. I go for the knockoff because even if he is physical, he shouldn't be able to hit me with anything. -2 Hidden Power Fire is doing nothing with the Assault Vest. So I feel like he has to go into something like the Jirachi or the Salazzle. Yes, I could U-turn, but crucially with a Salazzle, this is something that I don't want to have recovery, because sub-toxic with Black Sludge, it just sticks around and it's annoying. So I felt like my best play there was to just get the knockoff off, potentially find out what item the Superior was, and if it had a Scarf, get rid of his Scarf, or whatever else. Although if he stayed into Scarf Leaf Storm me at -2, that would be very bizarre. But yeah, why not get rid of an item, especially the Salazzle's Black Sludge, as we do get rid of exactly that on this Salazzle, which means that Diancie can come in and he now can't finish this interaction with a substitute, which is really clutch, because that means that my Mega Alakazam can come into Revenge Kill this thing, and that's what I want. So yeah, I felt like this was a decent interaction for me. Yes, he can probably freely go into Jirachi, but at this point in the game, I still have enough checks to the Jirachi to not be overly afraid of that thing. And I'm just going to go for my Stealth Rocks here. If he chooses to sub up, it's fine. Like I say, I'll be able to Power Gem the next turn and break his sub, and we'll be fine. I did consider doubling out here, predicting the Jirachi, but as I say, it just didn't seem worth it. The Stealth Rocks just seemed like the better all-round play, so I just get my Rocks up here. And at this point, I was about to go hard into my Mega Alakazam, because like I've just said, I know he's special now, and I also know that he is Calm Mind. So if I can go into my Mega Alakazam and Encore him into Calm Mind, we're in the driving seat, we're in a really good spot. And this is where I look at my Mega Alakazam and realize I have Taunt. And I am not so confident anymore, because Encoring him into Calm Mind basically meant that I always 1v1'd him. I could just keep shadow balling through him. I would be getting Serene Grace drops. He would constantly be locked into Calm Mind. There was just nothing he could do about that because I outspeed him. He would just be buggered at that point. So that was really the play that I wanted to make, but unfortunately, I can't do that. And that is a little bit scary because the only way I can really lose this game on matchup, in my opinion, was being swept by like a superior Leaf Storm, which I've already seen it doesn't have, or by a Calm Mind Jirachi. So now I'm like, damn, or maybe Scarf Kieran, but I've got my rocks up for that. So now I'm like, okay, this gets a little bit hairier to play around. So I'm actually going to go out into Zapdos rather than the Alakazam, because what Zapdos does is it basically forces him to stay only at +1 special attack, and at +1 special attack, he can't kill my Mega Alakazam from full. So him not going for the Bullet Punch earlier could be really crucial if he did have it, because it basically just means now my Mega Alakazam can deal with this Jirachi that otherwise could be a threat. If he didn't have Hidden Power Fire or anything anyway, then and even with Hidden Power Fire, I think my Scissor still would have taken one and been able to pick him off with the knockoff after the Shadow Ball damage from Zam. But regardless, like I say, he only gets to +1 there because we threaten him with the Whirlwind. He can't try and set up to +2. Well, he could, but it would be pointless. He would lose the KO that he can just take there. We go out into Gato. We now have Serene Grace, and we can click Shadow Ball, and this thing is incredibly difficult for him to deal with. I don't remember whether Jirachi gets Shadow Ball or not. I feel like Jirachi probably does get Shadow Ball or Signal Beam or something, but it doesn't matter because you can see that does more than 50% just as I saw in my mocks, so I knew that we had a pretty good chance of doing a lot of damage. Here he reveals to have the Moonblast. He could get the special attack drop, which would be really annoying. He has Serene Grace too, but he doesn't get the special attack drop. We don't get the Super Def drop. Feels about fair, so we just basically balance each other out. I can go for another Shadow Ball here, now knowing that the Superior isn't contrary. If he goes out into Superior there on the Shadow Ball, for example, we could get the Super Def drop on that with Serene Grace, and then kill it with the Psychic, so that's not safe for him either, as he chooses to just hand over the Jirachi, and we managed to get out of what was a pretty sticky situation, and one of the ways we could really have lost this game well. Kieran comes in now. Could be Scarf. We know nothing about it other than it switched out earlier on the Lucario. Didn't fancy that interaction, but that doesn't mean that it's not Scarf. That just means that potentially it is Scarf and didn't have Earth Power and needed some chip on Lucario later in the game. So I'm just going to go into Diancie because if it is Scarf, we should be able to take any hit from it and potentially Moonblast it next turn, unless he goes for the Iron Head. And if he is Z like this, we basically just sack off our Diancie to get in something better. Scissor does not take this Z very well at all. In fact, I think after the Leaf Storm damage from Superior, I don't know if we take it full stop. I don't even know if we could take it a little bit. I just want to make sure the speed's right on this. Yeah, it is. Sorry, when I record these in Citra, obviously I'm not 100% confident with the speeds, because I'm having to speed it up slightly because my computer doesn't run very fast. But we go out into red here, because basically I can bullet punch this thing unless he's got hidden power fire. I don't even think kills actually, so he doesn't have any way of killing me, and double bullet punch should be able to pick him off. And hopefully what that will do is bait in the Salazzle rather than the Superior to try and revenge kill me. It doesn't matter too much, but it's better for my Breloom in the late game if I can get rid of the Salazzle. So that's why I felt like this was better than going into Mega Alakazam and trying to land a Focus Blast, right? This is always the play, even regardless of positioning. I suppose this was always the play. So double bullet punch does pick him off as he just has a fusion bolt to his us, and out comes the Salazzle. Now we do manage to bait it in, which was my big hope, because now we can quick attack this thing as it falls down to about 25%, and there isn't a lot he can do here. So shout out to Scissor for just being so good basically and picking up 2 KOs really well in this late game, and that only leaves my opponent with his Superior left. Now this is where I talk about not knowing too much about this set. All I've seen so far is that he's probably messed up his ability, but I don't know what kind of set he is other than that. He could be Subseed, he could be Subseed, he could be like Synthesis Subseed, he could be Hidden Power Fire Leaf Storm Subseed, he could be all sorts. I don't know anything about it yet, right? He could be Scarf. And so one of my big fears was that, okay, Mega Alakazam with Bullet Punch plus Mach Punch plus Mega Alakazam outspeeding it, I shouldn't lose to this thing. The only way I could lose to it is if he was like Scarf Giga Drain, something like that, and he managed to like 2-hit KO my Scissor, which he shouldn't ever be able to do. But I don't know, I was just going through, I was going through my head and I was like, is there any way Scarf can beat me? And I thought, I don't want to lose to Scarf, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click U-turn here. Now, this is the wrong play to make, because if I bullet punch, I basically just put him in range of Zam and it's game over. he can't scarf into anything that would kill Scizor and Zam. But in my head, I'm like, maybe there's something he can scarf into that kills Scizor and Zam. Maybe there's something I'm overlooking. I'm going to take the safe play and just go for the U-turn as he goes for the Hidden Power Fire. Now I'm going to go into Mega Alakazam, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure he has to leave Storm to be able to kill me from the range of health I'm at. Again, you know, not having taken the hit earlier was really, really nice. We get the Overgrow, it's irrelevant. We don't have any Grass moves, sadly. This Psychic should be able to put him very low, presumably in range of Muck Punch from our Breloom as he goes for the Leaf Storm here and does just pick us off and gets the drop. So he doesn't have any way of killing Breloom now at -2 unless he maybe crits through the drops or something, but even then he'd have to be like Hidden Power Flying, and we've already seen his Hidden Power Fire, so that's not going to happen. Maybe like an Aerial Ace or something. I don't know if it even gets flying coverage, but regardless, we're going to go out and Shampoo, and we should be able to just pick up the KO with the Muck Punch. There shouldn't be any issues here. As we do, and we win this game 1-0. Now, as I say, I should have just Bullet Punched with the Scissor, because then Psychic definitely would have killed from our Mega Alakazam, and we would have saved 1 differential point. There was really no reason for me to assume that he could, to fear that he could scarf into anything that could beat through my team, but I don't know, it was just an irrational fear. It was just one of those moments. Even if he had scarfed into, I don't know, Giga Drain and 2-hit KO'd my Scizor, which he couldn't, but even if he had, then he wouldn't have been able to break through my Breloom either, so I still would have won 1-0 at the very least. It was just one of those moments of madness where I was just like, I'm scared of this Superior, I don't want to choke the game after playing pretty well and being in the driving seat, so I took the 1-0 guaranteed win rather than running any risk of anything weird. It was unnecessary, and I could have saved a differential point, but regardless, GG to my man Randy. It was so much fun to get to battle him. Really fast-paced offensive game here with just sacks left and right. Yeah, a lot of kills in not many turns, so really, really fun game. I think the longest interchange was just the Lucario setting up on the Lone Molar, and once that thing went down, we were just trading KOs. So yeah, really, really fun game. We do now move to a 3-1 record in the PGBL. So your Bowlen Bovines, I believe at the time of recording this, currently sit top of our division. Hopefully we can keep this momentum going, finish as a top seed in the division, get the first week bye, and then only have, I think, a semi-final and final match potentially to run in the league. So that would be fantastic. That's really what we want to shoot for here, but we still have some very scary opponents left. Next week we go up against, I think it's the Killer Nacho and his Miami Dolphiones. I've only come across him really since joining the PGBL, but I've been watching his games all season. Seems like a very good battler. I don't know how this has happened, but I've looked at our schedule and I've looked at the other division, and barring Root, the 3 interdivision games that we play the 3 highest teams in the other division, and we also ended up in the most stacked division according to everyone that's kind of talked about the league. So somehow we found ourselves, I think your Bonobos have the hardest schedule of anyone in the league, I'm pretty sure. As I say, barring Root, we play I think every top player in the league. So if we manage to come out of this as top seeds in our division, I will be very, very happy, but of course we have to keep doing the work to get there. Definitely a scary fixture list, but with just 4 games left, I think, after this, I think it's only a 7-week season, with just 4 games left after this, every game is crucial, so hopefully you guys are looking forward to next week's game. I know I am. Thank you so much for loafing around with me, and I'll catch you again next time.